Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
And now, here he is, the host, Buddy Martin.
Welcome to the Buddy Martin Show on the Southern Network on the Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday. Daniel L. Hightower, lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. We're up and live on Facebook today. Buddy Martin along with Tom Schmitz and David Nash, encouraging everybody, in fact I'm going to do it right now myself, to go to Facebook, The Buddy Martin Show, and click on our live broadcast and enjoy the next 57 or 8 minutes. Facebook Live, where we are, it is amazing the responses that we have been getting, fellas, from this Facebook Live. We understand not everybody does Facebook. There are some people out there who don't. But it's been quite a response from the people. I mean, the numbers, if you look at the numbers on this last, what has it been, 2 weeks or so, you will see that we're going to be able to, we're making inroads to places we didn't know we were going to be. And so thank you for that. We appreciate that very much. All right, so here I am, Tom. I'm up here. I got to go and share it, right? Just like that, don't it, Tom? Share it to a page, right? And I go to my page.
Are you asking me? The guy who told me about Twitter is asking me how to do something?
I guess I am, yeah. So we're going to go right there on sharing a page we manage. And, well, it's not Ocala's Marion Theater there. That's not the right one. Anyway, today on the program, we've got lots to talk about today. And we're going to discuss the issue of the head coach of the Florida basketball team, Mike White, comparisons being made to Billy Donovan. I did a little research on that, and Billy Donovan, of course, we know is without peer as a Florida basketball coach. But these comparisons are going to keep coming up. So I thought, well, if we're going to have to do this, let's just do some research and some homework. So I got a few numbers, and I am going to put them out today, and then we'll talk to some people who are the experts on the subject, like Mark Long of the Associated Press, who will be along momentarily, and he will give us his thoughts. He covered Billy Donovan back then, and so we'll see exactly what takes place there. So, all right, here we go. Our post for Facebook Live. We'll take 2 or 3 seconds, and oops, that's the Marion Theater page. I don't want that. Let me try it again. All right, so Tom's got headlines in a moment. We are coming to you, of course, from the WMOP WGGU studios in Ocala, Gainesville, as we do every day from
6 to 7 p.m.
Absolutely, and we'll be broadcasting all the way up till 7 o'clock tonight. Hope you'll stay with us. Tom, let's do an early headline if you're ready to go here. Let's click off that headline liner, and we'll start with it.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
That's the way it is.
Buddy, the first major announcement of any type of punishment for Baylor from either the Big 12 or the NCAA has been made, and it may or may not result in a financial blow to the university. The Big 12 announced on Wednesday that the board of directors voted unanimously to withhold 25% of future revenue distribution to the school. The catch is that the money will be held to the completion of a third-party review of the school's required changes. But if Baylor proves it's made improvements, presumably to its Title IX office and procedures, the money then will eventually be handed over to Baylor. So it's not really a punishment. It's get your house in order and we'll give you your money.
Okay.
When Steve Sarkisian surprised everybody by leaving Alabama to become the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator, there's been one name thrown about as a possible replacement, Chip Kelly. Doesn't appear that's going to happen. According to Bleacher Report's Jason Cole, Chip Kelly says, I have no interest in becoming Alabama's new offensive coordinator. It's news that really doesn't come to much of a surprise if you really think about it, though, buddy. How is a guy who took Oregon to the promised land and then was an NFL coach going to come back at his age in his mid-50s, early 60s, and get yelled and screamed at like a bully like Nick Saban does to young coaches? Exactly. And finally, I don't know if you saw this, after the football game on Sunday, Deion Sanders, an analyst for the NFL Network, made comments about the Colts cheating when colleague LaDainian Tomlinson said some might question New England's success because of Spygate. He says Deion says those same critics, did they say anything about the wins that Indianapolis had? You want to talk about that too? Because they were getting everybody's signal. Come on, you don't walk up the line, look over there, and a man on the sideline giving you the defense. They stole plays from Tony Dungy was on Pro Football Talk today. He said, yeah, we did like other teams. We stole signals, but we never cheated. I don't understand how you can steal signals but not cheat. Tony Dungy says, I think everybody did it. That way you can't say it's cheating. So I don't know if I agree with that, but that's the headlines.
All right, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, baseball has been stealing signals since the beginning of time.
Still cheating.
But why haven't they done something about it? Does it give you an edge if you do that? And, it's part of the game now. I'm not saying we all know that baseball, they rub baseballs up, and they've been cheating on that for years. And it's, I agree with you, Tom. I'd like to have it be on the up and up, ethical, what have you, and I'm 100% for that. But is that really something that we're going to ever be able to legislate, and is it something that needs to be done? I don't know.
I don't think you could ever legislate it. You can legislate whether a team sends a cameraman, covertly into a stadium to videotape another team's practices and game planning. You can regulate that. I've always said the Spygate thing was kind of dumb to me because how are you going to regulate the air pressure in balls given that the atmosphere was very cold and everything? The atmospheric changes. But Spygate, I understand, was cheating. Stealing signals, the old adage, buddy, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That sounds like NASCAR to me. And so what about you, David? Did you share that thought?
As far as cheating, I refer back to the South Park episode I saw on Bill Belichick and Deflategate. It's not, nobody really seems to care as long as you're winning, but if you're losing, like Josh McDaniels when he got caught cheating, obviously it becomes an issue. So it seems like if you're winning, nobody really seems to care, or they just make comments, but nobody really throws up a fuss about it because at the end of the day, Bill Belichick's still winning. He's still out there coaching. Brady's still out there playing.
All right, so some things are acceptable, I guess. It's kind of like the Brady thing in the football. As others have said, hey, we did that all the time. Every quarterback I talked to said they took a little air out of the ball, and all of a sudden they decided to enforce the rule. That's the thing that bothers me is that they have let these things pass, and then one day they just decide to let them go. So, all right, so good stuff today. We're going to talk about the obvious comparison, Mike White to Billy Donovan, and whether or not he might be on his way toward becoming another Billy Donovan, which is a tall order. Also, there's a couple topics we'll get around to. Basketball certainly is the topic right now today. Florida, a very impressive win last night over Georgia. Chris Chiosa, who has just been on fire, he was just the SEC Player of the Week last week. He has 15 points and it led them, had steals and up and down the court, rebounding. He and Casey Hill, I tweeted last night, Florida has maybe the best guards in the country. I mean, it's pretty hard to, those two jets like that can fly and play. They're good defenders, and then they got other guys who play guard. But they are really terrific. And I know some guys think North Carolina's got the best of everything, but it's been said by others on broadcast that these guards are as good as it gets for a team.
No, Florida's got two of the best guards in the country. That's no question. What worries me a little about this Gator team is against the Georgia team that they were able to come back on and win by 12. They did give up a 16-point lead. You get a 16-point lead against a Kansas in the tournament or against Villanova or against Gonzaga, you give up that 16-point lead then, you probably don't win by 12. It worried me how they were up so big and were able to let Georgia back in the game. And then they came out in the second half, clamped down on defense, and put Georgia away. Good for the Gators. But it just worried me. I had a little concern about the 16-point lead going away.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but, we talked about teams choking. That certainly wasn't a choke job.
It wasn't.
So
No.
in some ways, it was good for them to be able to
They
do
actually
that.
finished the game with the higher score, so that was always a plus. I mean, no matter how you look at it, whether they let them
Well,
come
you
back
don't
from a
win-
16-point
you don't
lead
win
or
if you
not.
don't.
Exactly.
It is, So, but anyway, their defense was really, really, really good.
It was a clamp in the second half.
And I'm anxious to hear what Mark Long has to say about it. So this team is playing. Hey, again, I said yesterday, think of this. This team could have, if they beat Texas A&M Saturday, 20 wins before Valentine's Day. That's pretty impressive right now.
Can we give a little shout out to Canyon Barry, though, and him beating J.J. Frazier's consecutive free throw record with his underhand free throws there? I mean, that to me, I love watching that guy shoot free throws.
Yeah. Comes as no surprise to this reporter, as the old saying in the business, as a former underhand free throw shooter, just so you know.
No way.
Yep.
All right.
Another story. Take a break, come back. Mark Long is up next. We're going to talk about, all right, Billy Donovan and Mike White. What are the comparisons, and how about this Gator basketball team? How good can they be? Coming up next right here in Buddy Marks.
On the Southern Pigskin Radio Network.
Florida Sports Talk. The team is powered by Jenkins Auto Group, the largest dealership group in North Central Florida with 9 Jenkins locations to serve you in Ocala, Leesburg, and now Gainesville. Go to JenkinsCars.com to find a Jenkins store near you. Welcome to the family.
Car accident, work accident, wrongful death, personal injury, Social Security disability. Contact Daniel L. Hightower, lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. Call 352-629-7777. That's 352-629-7777. Or visit DanHightower.com. Offices in Ocala, Florida.
Whether it's the heat of the preseason or the heart of the postseason, teams always get a little boost from playing at home. Speaking of a boost at home, State Farm agent Bart Blessing can boost your savings when you combine your homeowner's insurance with your auto coverage. So score one for the home team. Talk to State Farm agent Bart Blessing for big league savings for combining home and car coverage. Contact State Farm agent Bart Blessing today at bartblessing.com.
Document Technologies has been helping Ocala business owners save money on their copiers and printers for more than 7 years. Now they've added the full line of award-winning color copiers and printers from CopyStar. CopyStar has a reputation for their overall low cost of ownership and unmatched reliability. Combine that with Document Technologies' fast local service and 5-year guarantee, you have a combination that can't be beat. Plus, they have special programs for nonprofit organizations and government programs. To find out more about how Document Technologies and CopyStar's award-winning color products can help your business, call Bill Schroeder at 352-368-6664 and start saving today. We use Document Technologies, and so should you. Call 352-368-6664.
And in Gainesville at 372-6666.
Document Technologies, the only copier company you'll ever need.
Looking for exceptional golfing conditions with the best experience? Stone Creek Golf Club must be your choice. The plush conditions and the rolling hills of Ocala's countryside make it hard to play anywhere else. After your round, don't forget to stop into their full-service bar and grill with their big screen televisions to enjoy the big game. Great food, great golf, and great people make for a great golfing experience. Only at Stone Creek Golf Club in Ocala. For tee times, call 352-854-1272 or visit StoneCreekGolfOcala.com for other specials. The Mojo Grill is Ocala's favorite restaurant. From the numerous Taste of Ocala awards, multiple publications reader choice selections, and countless King of the Wing titles, the Mojo Grill stands alone as Ocala and Bellevue's #1 restaurant. Enjoy great daily food and drink specials to accompany the best staff and atmosphere in Marion County. The Mojo Grill now has 3 locations for you to visit. In Bellevue on North 441, on Merricamp Road in Ocala, adjacent to the Target parking lot, and now on East Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala. So whether it's lunch or dinner, come get your mojo working at the Mojo Grill.
Don't you dare miss out on the life and death topics we're batting around. Stay connected. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and
online at floridasportsup.nl.
Welcome back to the Buddy Martin Show on Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday. Glad to be with you today. Coming up just a moment. Got the gremlins out today in the radio. We're having some difficulties here with a few things, but we'll get them worked out. Mostly my bad. And we will have Mark Long momentarily from the Associated Press. Mark has been covering Gator sports. He covers Jacksonville sports. He's been a long-time guest of ours. We've had him on here.
We hadn't had him on in a while, though.
We haven't. The last time, 2 or 3 times we tried to get him, he was busy. So we're glad to have Mark back with us today, and he stays on top of things. By the way, while we're waiting, glad to welcome to the team a team member along with myself and Tom and David and Hunter, our new, and this is her phrase, Gator Girl.
Yeah, I saw that.
Shelby Williams.
I saw that
will
video.
be reporting to us. She'll be in studio every Wednesday. You can see her, by the way, on Facebook.
Every Monday.
Every Monday. You can see her on our Buddy Martin Show page, and she's going to be good. She looks like she's got some mustard on her fastball. So you'll be hearing from Shelby a la Gator Girl. Right now, let's go to the hotline on this Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday and talk to Mark Long of the Associated Press. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, doing well, buddy. How are you?
Been a while. We just were talking about, Tom and I were saying, that we used to have you on a lot, and you've been busy, and things are going on, so glad to hook up with you again. And, there's certain stories that you need perspective on, that you need somebody's experience and background who understands perspective of what this person's position means. In English, that means Billy Donovan's ghost and Mike White's presence, and the inevitable things that come up now about Donovan and Mike White. And you knew Billy Donovan; you covered him a long time, and you've gotten to know Mike White as well. Before we talk about last night's game in Georgia, give me your take on what are the similarities between Donovan and White.
Well, I mean, if you compare young Billy Donovan versus young Mike White, there are a lot of similarities. I mean, two guys who clearly there's mounting evidence that these guys know what they're doing. This isn't it wasn't the big name hire that some of these other schools made, certainly in the SEC, but it is becoming unbelievably clear that Mike White knows how to coach and knows how to recruit. You look around that team right now, and he's actually, I know, he took over a program that Billy had built, so you would expect Mike to have a better starting platform than Billy had. But, with the numbers in his first 2 years, Mike White's got, considerably more wins and considerably more conference wins than Billy Donovan did in his first 2 years at this point. So, but that's not a big surprise given, that Billy Donovan, what kind of the keys that Billy Donovan gave to Mike White. But I think the one thing to me that just stands out is these guys can coach and recruit, and you really see it in some of these wins that Mike White has put together. And the other thing that they do have in common is they both are defensive-minded guys. It is, they didn't build a program to bring in a bunch of one-and-dones like Kentucky. They didn't bring a program to come in and just chuck a bunch of threes, although that's kind of a lot of people think that's not the reality. It is defense first in Gainesville under Billy Donovan and the same under Mike White, and that's how it's built, and that's the philosophy, and that's what they want to do. Everything else is secondary to playing defense.
All right, so we're looking at the two records. Mike White is 40-20 overall. Could be at 20 wins here as of this weekend. That's a very impressive record. I went back and looked at Billy Donovan's first 60 games, let's say, 59 games, and Donovan's records were 13-7 and 13-17, and 14-15. So he was 27-32 after 59 games. Now, in fairness, and you would know this, Billy was taking a team in a program that had problems and NCAA violations and what have you a few years before, and had to build that program back to where it was. He inherited a good team from Lon, but he had to get the mustard back on the fastball, so to speak. So I give him that. I give him the fact that Billy had to start from a more difficult position. Because let's face it, Mike White inherited a program that was basketball royalty for a long time. So how much of an advantage is that for Mike White to take a program over that was in good shape?
Yeah, huge huge advantage. I mean, let's not discount what Mike White has done, because he's made a very average team from a talent standpoint. There's not a lot of guys on this team that are playing the NBA, but the sum of the parts are better than the sum is better than the parts, and he's got these guys playing together. And we saw Billy do the same thing a number of years. In fact, in 2014, Billy's last Final Four team, that team with Patrick Young and Will Yeguet and Casey Prather and Scotty Wilbekin and Michael Frazier and Dorian Finney-Smith coming off the bench, that team was not this ultra-talented team, but together they played with a lot of cohesiveness and really played well together. And that's what Mike White is doing right now. He didn't inherit a ton of talent, but he's getting the most out of these guys, and collectively they're really, really good.
All right, so sometimes I look at the bench and I see White. His posture is similar to Donovan's. You know, it really is. I have to look at it again. He's got
the number one thing is they both ditched the jacket before the opening tip.
Exactly. And and although I will say this, Mike White is more composed, at least externally.
No question. Listen, I can count on I need two hands to count the number of whiteboards that I've watched Billy Donovan break over the years. I mean, he would throw those things, he would smash them. I mean, he just, pieces flying. When Billy Donovan would get unbelievably angry and he could stare at you, he was not Bobby Knight, but he wasn't all that far behind from his stare and some of the grimaces and growls he could give his players and certainly the officials. And Mike White is not in that ballpark, but they are absolutely similar in so many ways. But Mike White can bark if he needs to.
Seems to be a good recruiter. All right, let's talk about the team he's got on the floor now. Last night, they as Tom pointed out, they did blow a 16-point lead. But now the sum total of this is 5 straight by 30 points or whatever it is now. And they're winning on the road more impressively than they are in their own gym almost, although Kentucky was pretty hard to beat in terms of a win. This team looks sometimes too good to be true. I don't know how this is going to play out the next couple of weeks, but with the bench he's got and the ability to play up to 10 people if he has to, what has he got, 3, 6, 10 kids that run the floor so good? He has got a lot of firepower there and something in reserve. What is your take on that? I know the defenses are going to carry you a lot further, and you have cold shooting nights. But at this point in time, would you say this team is starting to look like a Sweet 16 team?
Yeah, I would absolutely think that Sweet 16 is something that this team should absolutely put on its radar and have set as its goal. Now then, the question is, can it go any further? Because I do think that, defensively, they've got all the pieces in place. Unbelievable defense inside, got enough length to get out and close out on three-point shooters. Their help defense is unbelievable. They communicate really well. The question is, do they have enough offensively? The thing about them is they've got a lot of pieces. Like you go and look at Georgia, that's got J.J. Frazier and Yatin Mateen. They got 2 guys and 2 scorers. Well, Florida's got 6, 7, maybe even 8 guys who are capable of scoring it on any single night. And in fact, I think the story is that through, what are they at now, 24 games, I think they've had 8 different guys lead them in scoring through 24 games, which is pretty impressive.
Stat right there.
Yeah. And so it's not the starting 5. They certainly have some depth with Keith Stone coming off the bench, Kavarius Hayes coming off the bench, Canyon Barry, Chris Chiozza with his triple-double last week coming off the bench. They've got pieces. The problem is they just don't have that go-to guy, and they just don't have that really, really high-volume scorer. So I just wonder, without those, how far can they really go without, A, a go-to guy, and B, a real scoring threat?
Well, I think they have a go-to guy, but he doesn't start. I think Canyon Barry's the guy that's going to go put the ball in his hands when you wouldn't need a bucket. Kayvon Allen clearly is not that guy. He's too inconsistent. He's a heck of a player. But you mentioned this. There's a lot. Hayes is a tremendous-looking player at times. But you're right. There's not that one. By the same token, there's so much talent on a given night.
anybody can lead. Look at Casey Hill. They've got more productivity out of him now in the last 7 or 8 games than he's ever been at Florida. And he got that little mid-range little floater there now that's come back to him. So they got some really good parts. The question is, as you say, will those parts come together with a sum total of a team that can compete? That's the big question. So.
Yeah, and whether or not, if they got into a situation where they needed to outscore somebody, if for whatever reason they had trouble on the defensive end, can they go in and win an 85-83 game if they need to? And that's the number one question in my mind for this team going forward, going into the SEC tournament, going into the NCAA tournament. Can they basically win a shootout? And I don't know that the answer is yes right now.
Talking with Mark Long of the Associated Press. Mark, Tom Schmitz here. When you look at February all the way through the end of the season, they've got Missouri, Kentucky, Georgia. They beat 3-game win streak in February. Really, the games that you need to look at if you think about this objectively are at Mississippi State versus South Carolina and at Kentucky. That 3-game stretch. If they can go 2-1 in that 3-game stretch, win all the other games, that's an 8-1 record from February through this. Do then they solidify maybe a 3 or 4 seed so they don't get stuck in that dreaded 5-12 game?
Oh, absolutely. And listen, that's not only do you not want to be a 5-12 seed, you never want to be a 5-12 seed nowadays, Tom, but more than anything is they want to play in Orlando, and you got to be a top 4 seed to play that close to home. And they played 3 games in Orlando already this year. They had great turnouts. They've got a great fan base in Orlando, centrally located, so they'll get people from Gainesville, Jacksonville, Tampa, Southwest Florida, certainly people from Miami. Orlando is almost the ideal spot for them to play. And when they were there a few years ago, they had great turnout. So I think they won't say it publicly, but more so than anything, that's in the back of their mind. Need to be a top 4 seed so that you're basically playing at home. And when you look at all the other spots that they could go, there's nothing close. It's like Tulsa, Oklahoma. There is Greenville, South Carolina, but you got to think Duke or Carolina is going to be there. And so that's not really a pro floor. And then everything else is, Buffalo and across into the Midwest. There's nothing else even remotely close to Gainesville, Florida, other than that Orlando. So being a top 4 seed is absolutely a goal for this team and should be, and rightfully so.
Good stuff from Mark Long of the Associated Press. Good to have you back on, buddy. Look forward to chatting again next time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, Mark Long. We'll take a break on the other side on the Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday. Daniel L. Hightower, lawyer fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. Coming up next, Tom James talking a little bit of College of Central Florida basketball. Big news on the front right here at the Buddy Barton Show.
On the Southern Pigskin Radio Network.
Florida Sports Talk is broadcasting live from the Pomodoro Cafe studios. Pomodoro Cafe, located on 39th Avenue in Gainesville. For savory menu items, check out PomodoroCafe.com.
Here in Florida, when you're looking to go to the beach, you've got hundreds of options. Theme parks, no shortage of options there either. But when it comes to home insurance, most companies have only one option. Allstate is different. Here in Florida, Allstate agents offer home insurance options from several companies, so they can help you get the coverage that's right for you. And they'll help you save on quality car insurance, too. For starters, safe drivers save 45% with Allstate. So before you settle for just one option, talk to someone with many home and car insurance options. Your local Allstate agent. Are you in good hands?
Why not allow us to help you with all of your insurance? Call the McDonald Agency today at 622-2333.
Allstate has no financial responsibility to you for any home insurance policy you purchase and would not be responsible for any claims. Allstate does not make any representations or accept liability related to operations of home insurance companies, including but not limited to their financial conditions. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Addiction can kill, but it doesn't have to. Better Addiction Care offers the best resources for you to get help. Call 888-377-5179. 888-377-5179 to begin your road to recovery today. Asking for help is one of the hardest things to do, so don't ask, just call. 888-377-5179. When you make this free and confidential call to Better Addiction Care, people who care are ready to match you with the right facility for you. You may not even know that FMLA will give you up to 3 months off work to start your recovery. Call Better Addiction Care now. 888-377-5179. That's 888-377-5179. If you have insurance through your job or your parents, it could mean little to no cost to you. Addicts have 3 options: prison, death, or recover. Make the right choice today. Call 888-377-5179. 888-377-5179. 888-377-5179.
This is Brady Ackerman from Mid-State Skin Institute here in Ocala. Now, if you're like me and you're active and you spend a lot of time in the sun, whether it's working out or at the beach or even at your son's baseball games, you probably didn't use as much sunscreen as you should. That was the case with me. So I went and visited the good folks at Mid-State Skin Institute. They removed some of the wear and tear of my sun damage quickly and efficiently. Look, folks, your skin is important, and you must take care of it. If you haven't, go see Dr. Ashley Cawthon and her staff at Mid-State Skin Institute. They are locally owned and offer a variety of medical and cosmetic services. So call them today at 512-0092, 512-0092, or find out more at midstateskin.com.
Start your mornings off right with the starting lineup.
As Dabo said in the postgame, Deshaun Watson didn't lose the Heisman lost to Deshaun Watson.
I knew you were telling me that guy's not fake. That guy had that so prepared it wasn't even funny.
I mean, somebody had to tell him that.
I was eating at a Chinese food restaurant and I opened my cookie and this is what it said.
He had the other one. It's not about the light on you, it's about the light in you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Dabo's preaching, baby.
Dude,
man, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to skip church on Sunday.
Listen, I could just literally envision, like, inside Raymond James Stadium as he's up there speaking and stuff, as he's, like, dropping that sort of stuff on you. You look in the aisleway, and here comes a guy who's got, like a basket or something. He's going to pass it. Just pass that down the line there.
This is a guy that
it's called a collection plate.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Obviously, I hadn't been in church in a while.
The starting lineup, weekday mornings from 7 to 9, right here on Florida Sports Talk, The Team.
Back on Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday. Buddy Martin here with Tom Schmitz, David Nash. Now out to the hotline and talk to one of our partners. He's usually on with us doing the roundtable, but he has been busy lately, calling a bunch of games. Tom James, welcome to the show, Tom.
Buddy, Schmitty, good to talk to you guys. Where you been all my life?
I know. It's been amazing that lately we haven't seen you.
Do I know this guy?
Yeah, no, you don't know.
I don't know him? Okay.
No, and he probably likes it better that way.
He probably does.
I think that's Tom Schmitz, the guy who wishes he was at the Atlanta Super Bowl parade yesterday.
Ooh.
You know, I really don't know that guy.
Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, like old times. Hey, Tom, you told me something I didn't know to text me last night, and as people who were involved and Lisa's suggestion that this idea should take seed 4 years ago, and I wouldn't say we played a major part in it, but we certainly tried to bring it to people's attention that why not have the community college, what do you call it? I guess you call it the junior college tournament, state basketball tournament here in Ocala, and it came about for 3 years, and by all standards apparently was a big success. And now they just renewed, and they're going to play 3 more years at College of Central Florida. Big news, huh?
Oh, it's absolutely big news. I think it's just a testament to what kind of a program, this incredible program that the College of Central Florida runs, as far as all of their athletics, but basketball especially. The fact that for the first time ever they had the state tournament, they had an initial 3-year contract. It went so well that there was almost a no-brainer that they would re-sign a new 3-year deal. It has happened, and the state tournament is going to be here for another 3 years. So it's very exciting news and well-deserved, I think, for CF.
Tom, you've seen this team play. By the way, great job on the call on Saturday night. Listened to part of the game, and you really brought the game to life. And I haven't seen the team play, but after listening to your game description, your call, I feel like I knew a little something about them. They really came on strong and beat Santa Fe. I mean, whooped up on Santa Fe. Tell me a little about the game, and tell me about some of the stars that are on that team.
Well, the thing about this team, and it's the same thing every single year with head coach Tim Ryan's team. Tim Ryan is a Hall of Famer. They've won 20 games or more for a dozen years consecutively. And he has these teams every year that are high-flying teams that can also shoot the lights out of the place. I mean, he had a guy, Malik Dunbar, the other night that had 4 dunks. And I don't just mean, tender at the rim dunks. I mean 4 bring the house down tomahawk jams. He had a couple other guys that both had double-doubles. This basketball team averages 10 or more three-pointers per game, and the crowd shows up in droves. And they kind of pulled away from Santa Fe the other night, let them back in the game a little bit late, held on, and won comfortably. But the CF plays in a conference where there are 4 teams. The top 2 teams in this conference make it to the state tournament, which CF will host. That is pretty much a foregone conclusion that CF will be in the tournament that will be played in their own gym this year. And it is just a fun team to watch every single night.
Tom Schmitz, you remember the time we had Coach Ryan on our remote broadcasts. We're talking about what would be his dream, and he said to win a state championship,
on his floor.
On my floor, And at that time, it wasn't possible because they didn't play the tournament there. And so he has not only had that, but he's won a national championship. I'll ask you guys both, and it's easy to be a homer, but how good is this guy, Tim Ryan?
Well, Tim Ryan, and we mentioned the fact that he's a Hall of Famer. In the time that he has been at the College of Central Florida, he's in his 14th season there. He has produced 8 All-Americans, and these are guys that have gone on to bigger programs because he only gets these guys for 2 years.
Yeah.
8 All-Americans is more than any other school in the country during that time. And, of course, you mentioned the national championship in 2013. 12 straight 20-win seasons after the win the other night. He's a bona fide big-time coach, and CF is lucky to have him sticking around.
It just, what it is about Tim Ryan is the fact that somebody hasn't come calling to get him out of Ocala.
Well, I'm not so sure they haven't.
Well, I know that he was interested in a job a couple, 3 years ago that didn't materialize. But, it's got to be a special job. It would have to be one because Billy Donovan took him to his summer camps and everything. I'm sure there may have been, might have been an opportunity. He may have went 35 miles up the road, but he stayed at CF.
During that time, during that time, I had to see President Henningsen. And I said, what are the odds that Tim Ryan will be back at CF? He said, don't worry, he'll be back. So they had no designs on losing him, which has been a huge asset, not just to the college, but to our city, Tom James.
Well, the thing about, you mentioned something very interesting, buddy, that about what Tim Ryan's dream might be. Remember, this is a guy that's won the national championship back in 2013. But I think you may be right in the fact that his ultimate dream might be to win the state championship on his home floor. Because you remember, the year they won the national championship, they have to win the state title to get to nationals. That was the year before it was held in Ocala. So he didn't do it on his home floor.
Yeah.
That would be one of the ultimate dreams yet to be accomplished for a guy that's already won the national title.
Right, absolutely. Well, good stuff, Tom, and hopefully we'll get a chance to hear you a couple of more broadcasts down the way. We'll be able to get more information for you on those HDG games, and great job. Love to hear you on the radio, and I love your calls, and I've got a little, today I got a subject matter you might be interested in about Golden Nugget. I don't often rip into announcers because I think they're like low-hanging fruit, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm not happy when announcers don't tell me what's happening on my screen. And that really upset me last night. And I'll tell you about that about Golden Nugget. You'll know, and you don't do this, by the way. So sometimes I'll say to you on the show, what's the score? And you'll say, 42-25, CF up by 7. And so you have a rhythm to updating people. But, I mean, when you start drifting off and off subject and off topic and telling stories, you're not Vin Scully, okay? I mean, there's only one Vin Scully that can do that. And baseball certainly is different, as you know, than basketball and football. So, anyway, your thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, television and radio is different because in TV these days, it's less important for you to actually say the score because it is always there for you on the screen. In radio, though, it's as important as ever. So you can storytell, and all the good ones do that, and you have to, but you can still interject and reset the moment always with the score, with the setting, and then kind of drift in and out of whatever story you may be telling when you have time to do that.
Well, you're right, and football is different than other sports, and you're right when you're doing the game by yourself. You have to have backstories to tell. But there's one thing about it. Sometimes TV, the director doesn't get the shot of the play, and you don't know who got the rebound, who dove for the ball on the floor. There used to be something called hero shots. My son Brendan told me about him when he worked in Denver, where when a guy made a big play, you get a close-up on one of the cameras of him to show the listener and why. Well, you get in a game where you don't know what's happening, and they're talking about something off topic. It doesn't go over well with me, but at least Tom James, on radio, you're as good as there is, my friend. So thank you for that, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Too kind, buddy. Always good to talk to you guys.
All right, TJ. You worked with him for how many seasons? 3?
No, we worked together. This was our 4th season.
Yeah. Doing high school football. What's it like to work with TJ?
Well, he's a consummate professional, and he is a preparation junkie. When you go to a high school football game with him, he has this folder that he keeps all his work in, and he'll have 7, 8, 9 pages of prep work for a high school football game here in Marion County. You know how many pages of prep work I have?
None.
Yeah, that'd be 0. I got the live read commercials I need to do. Pretty much that's it.
You get that photographic memory, though.
But Tom James is able to talk about players and everything. All I got to do is say, we saw the linebacker. He slid into the gap there and filled the gap and made the tackle. That's what a good linebacker's supposed to do.
Or stream with the officials, or say, that ball went all the way to Bellevue.
Right. That's all I have to do. Tom James carries the program. Yeah. I'm there more for comedic help than anything else.
I'll let you guys weigh in on this real quick. But what's the thing about calling a game that really aggravates you? I'll hold off on mine. Aggravates you the most. David, you can start. When someone's calling a game, you're watching it. An announcer shouldn't be really heard. I mean, you should not even know they're there. But what aggravates you about announcers the most? One thing.
I actually disagree. I love announcers that get into the game. I mean, Dickie V, and I'm trying to remember that guy from Fox's name who definitely during March Madness, anytime there's a last-second 3 made, this guy seems like he's jumping up through the roof.
Like
I mean,
a lot of different people. But that's not the point. The point is not the style. The point is the substance. And Dick Vitale is horrible because he's all over the place and distracts the play-by-play guy. And I've known Dick a long time. I like him personally, and I used to enjoy him. But to me, he gets so actively involved and distracts the announcer. That's my take on it.
I think you're what you're saying, buddy, and it's the thing that aggravates me the most, and it's the thing that I'm most conscious of, because it's the thing watching Tom James do what he does is he's worked play-by-play for Florida Gulf Coast, CF Basketball, Marion County Friday Night Football Game, ESPN, NBC Sports, CBS Sports Network. Watching him, the one thing that an announcer has to do, the announcer has one objective. 2, actually. Tell me how much time there is and what the score is.
On radio.
You got to do that.
Have it, like he says, you have it on TV screen.
Right, on the radio. And you'll get
what the ball is.
You'll get announcers say the ball's on the 23-yard line and they're moving down the field. Well, which way are they moving? One of the lost arts in radio is left to right on your radio dial or right to left on your radio dial, so you know which way down the field they're going. I think radio announcing, because TV has become the main medium for announcing, I think the announcing of radio has really become a lost art.
Could be. All right, we've got this real quick before we go to break. Let you guys take a minute or less on the Mike White comparison to Billy Donovan. And you said the other day it's not even worth mentioning, but as Mark Long said, there are similarities.
I didn't know the numbers that you had read.
Yeah, and no, but I mean, I'm not saying, to say that he is equal to is ridiculous. To say he's on a path that could be done.
Which is what David said yesterday.
That is not what I said yesterday.
Well, all right, what did you say?
Yesterday I said I feel like Mike White, at the end of his tenure at Florida, however long that may be, could possibly be better than what Billy Donovan was.
I played the tape, by the way. It's not what you said.
That was not verbatim, but come on.
I played the tape. I know what
I don't
you
remember
said.
verbatim what I said.
You backed off of it a little bit. Anyway, here's your chance. If
Okay.
You want to I'll let Tom go first. Just keep in mind that although Billy Donovan had 2 rough years starting out, he wound up, of course, and this is numbers that are probably not attainable, 467 wins, 186 losses, and we know about the 14 tournaments, 4 Final Fours, and the 2 he won back-to-back. So whether or not we can only project, it's not fair to Mike White to project him in that. But as there are some similarities. So now if you want to clarify your position on this, go.
Roger that. Well, as your objective, fanatic, Gator expert,
Wait a minute.
radio personality.
Can't be objective fanatic.
Buddy, that is not Tim Tebow, Aaron Andrews. You cannot tell me they are not fans of the University of Florida.
No.
Okay, we're not talking about fans, and we're not talking about objectivity.
But they're also broadcast personalities.
We're talking about, do you think Mike White and Billy Donovan compare good?
Yes, I think they compare good, with the exception I think Mike White has a chip on his shoulder because, like Mark just said, coming in, people were kind of confused about the hire with his record at, I believe it was Louisiana Tech, coming out of there, that maybe, he's just sort of got that chip where he's kind of, obviously he's trying to replace Billy Donovan, at the same time he wants to show everybody that he has the ability and will have the ability to lead the University of Florida from here on out.
21 years ago, I remember I heard people say, who's this snot-nosed kid they hired from Marshall to take over this basketball program that's been to the Final Four? Lon Kruger got him to the Final Four and everything. That snot-nosed kid ended up being a pretty good basketball coach, and he coached with a chip on his shoulder because he was too young, and how did Florida hire this kid? There's a lot of similarities between what Billy Donovan did in his tenure here and what Mike White is starting to do here.
Well, Mike White is 40-20. I gave you the numbers a while ago. Let's just see let's let him finish the season and see, because endurance is a key part of greatness. Just remember that. Endurance is a key part of greatness. By the way, let me just give you my tweet real fast if I can find it. I don't think I read this yesterday. Let's see. Did I read this one? Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. There you go.
There you go.
We'll take a break. We're coming your way on Daniel L. Hightower Wednesday on the Buddy Martin Show.
Right here on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network.
Are you tired of buying bottled drinking water? Do you want great tasting, high quality water right from your tap? Culligan knows you want better tasting coffee, tea, and beverages, and healthier fruits and vegetables. The Culligan Reverse Osmosis Drinking System is the answer. Visit CulliganNorthFlorida.com for more information or call 1-800-233-2063 for your local Culligan man today.
All right. Hey, Culligan man!
Looking for exceptional golfing conditions with the best experience? Stone Creek Golf Club must be your choice. The plush conditions and the rolling hills of Ocala's countryside make it hard to play anywhere else. After your round, don't forget to stop into their full-service bar and grill with their big screen televisions to enjoy the big game. Great food, great golf, and great people make for a great golfing experience. Only at Stone Creek Golf Club in Ocala. For tee times, call 352-854-1272 or visit StoneCreekGolfOcala.com for other specials.
Volkswagen of Ocala's #1 concern has always been great customer service. And now with their full lifetime warranties, they'll serve you even better than before. Volkswagen of Ocala is the best source for new and World Auto certified pre-owned Volkswagen cars, wagons, vans, and SUVs. Their professional and friendly staff can provide you with the best service to find the car you've been looking for. Stop by and see them west of I-75 on Highway 200 or VolkswagenofOcala.com. Volkswagen, the power of German engineering. Check out Newport Hayes Winter Specials. 2-string Michigan Timothy, only $3.95 per ton. Newport Hayes, Ocala's hay and premium feed and grain dealer. Quality products with competitive prices and excellent service. Newport Hay offers you the best choices on alfalfa, Timothy, mixed and orchard grass hay. They carry world-class premium animal feed and equine nutrition from Cavalor and Central States. Call 352-237-9797 with delivery anywhere in the U.S. Visit Newport Hay on Facebook or OcalaNewportHay.com.
It's time to fire off the ball and make a big food play. We've all tried barbecue in those other SEC cities, but we're always thankful to come home to the best, Adams Rib Company.
The competition is tough in those SEC cities, but we'll put our barbecue up against any of them. We use the finest quality meats and take time to baste it, smoking it to perfection.
The best barbecue in the conference with 2 terrific 13th Street locations.
We guarantee a championship performance every time. Adams Rib Company. We're putting the ribs back in barbecue.
Not only does Triple Crown manufacture trailers, but they also service and repair all makes right at their facility. From boat trailers to enclosed trailers and everything in between. So challenge Triple Crown with your bearing job, rewiring, welding repairs, gate addition, hitch installation, or accessory. They're happy to help you service all trailers at Triple Crown Trailers. Call them today at 352-368-7885. That's 352-368-7885. And speak to their knowledgeable service staff to schedule your next appointment. Or stop by and visit Triple Crown's 2,100 square foot parts showroom at 4251 South Pine Avenue in Ocala. You can count on Triple Crown Trailers for quality service when you need it.
Gator fans, check out the Fun and Gun Radio Show with Shane Matthews and me, Brady Ackerman, every Wednesday night from 7 p.m. right here on Florida Sports Talk. Each week we dive into Gator football, whether it's recruiting, coaching moves, or much more on the gridiron. We will talk about it. We also break down the latest in Gator basketball and even look at some of the other Gator sports making news. It's the Fun and Gun Radio Show, and it's brought to you by Murray Automotive Group in Stark. And it's every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. on Florida Sports Talk. Also, check out the show on the podcast page at floridasportstalk.fm.
Now it's time for Buddy's Golden Nuggets.
I love gold. The taste of it, the smell of it, the texture.
Now for the Golden Nugget. For those who have listened to me over the years know I am not a zebra baiter or an announcer basher. These guys are already under attack, although sometimes justifiably. But the one thing that bugs me more than anything else when it comes to watching or listening to a game is when announcers get off topic and operate under the illusion that we don't need to know who made the key block on that run or who blocked it out or who got the key rebound. None of the nuances of the game. As I tweeted out last night while watching Florida, Georgia, this broadcast crew from ESPN2 confuses live play-by-play with commentary. We don't care about your opinions or your travel schedule. Just give us the game. A number of people responded to it on Facebook today. Among them was Timothy. He says, I can't listen to them, buddy. Best to turn down the volume and listen to the radio calls if you're fortunate enough to sync the two. Except because of the delay, that just doesn't work. There are very few announcers who can continue a dialogue with their audience while keeping up with what's happening on my screen. I don't even know the names of the woman and man who did the telecast from Athens last night. I was so annoyed, I almost turned off the sound and the game. Funny me. I'd rather know who just scored the last basket, if it was a 2 or a 3, than I would about the difficulty the announcers might have had when the airline lost their luggage. Is that asking too much? That's just me. That's today's Golden Nugget. I want to thank our guest, Tom James of the CF boys of CF basketball, and of course Mark Long of the Associated Press. Buddy, let's get right to this day in history. 1986.
What happened in February of '86? Nothing.
5'7" Spud Webb of the Atlanta Hawks wins the NBA Slam Dunk
That was
competition.
a major upset, wasn't it?
It really was. He was 5'7". Nobody thought he could win it. He wins the NBA Slam Dunk competition as an Atlanta Hawk. 1986 on this day in sports history.
All right. Thanks very much, Tom. On behalf of my broadcast partners, Tom Schmitz and David Nash. Hunter Turner's out with his brother tonight. We miss you, buddy. I am Buddy Martin. Have a great night, everybody. Looking for that perfect gift for the man in your life? Do what my family's been doing. Shop at Griner's Fine Men's Apparel at 405 East Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala. Griner's Clothing for Men has been an Ocala tradition since 1962, dedicated to delivering the highest quality in men's